Today we will be reviewing the most suspenseful book that I read in 2022. I finished this book on New Year's Eve. I am shook. I just finished Colleen Hoover's most talked about book in 2022, and that is Verity. And I am in a whirlwind of emotions right now. I honestly cannot tell you if I loved this book or if I hated this book because there are just so many emotions in this story. I will tell you that this is my first ever suspense book, and I liked the suspense of it. I liked the thriller of it. I liked not knowing exactly what was going on. Verity is a thriller, suspense, mystery, romance, and a little bit of dark genre of a book. And I would say from all the other books that I have read from Colleen Hoover, there are some similarities, but I would say that this book is really different from the other books that I have read of hers. So the book follows three main characters. You have Verity Crawford, then her husband Jeremy Crawford, and then you have Lowen Ashley. Lowen and Verity are both authors. However, Lowen is not as successful as Verity is, and she's kind of in a financial situation where her mother was just very, very sick and she had to take care of her mother, and then her mother passed away. And so she's kind of at a financial strain. She is offered the position to finish Verity's book series. She has 2 more book series that she's supposed to write. She's in contract to write, but she's been in this horrific accident and needs someone to step in and finish those books for her. So Jeremy hires Lowen, and Lowen travels to their house so that she can go into Verity's office and do her own research so that she can finish these books. Now, Lowen is not wanting to stay at the property long. She wants to get straight to Verity's office. She wants to go through, find all of the outlines for the books so that she can just get them and get back to her home or her new home that's supposed to be awaiting her, and so that she can get these outlines done and get these books written and get them published. However, she's unable to find any of the outlines and instead finds an autobiography that was written by Verity herself. This autobiography contains deep, dark secrets and is just kind of where the whirlwind of emotions comes from. It talks about the loss of their children. Jeremy and Verity had twins that they lost, and so it kind of talks about her emotions from there and just some of the things that she felt. This book is full of mystery and suspense and dark thoughts. I will say that I went into this book prepared about some of the dark events. Like, I didn't know what had happened, but my sister-in-law kind of just gave me a little bit of a warning. She was like, I don't know if you can do this book. There's some pretty dark moments that happen. I really have empathy, and so when I read about these things, they tend to make me kind of ill. And so she kind of just gave me that warning, which I really appreciate her doing. I had to read the book. I love Colleen Hoover, and it was so talked about in all of the Colleen Hoover groups that I'm in. I had to, out of curiosity, read these books. So I'm really grateful that she did forewarn me, because then it was almost like I could build a wall up for those events that were happening. However, there was one event that I just wasn't quite prepared for, and it just made me feel sick to my stomach. I was sweating. I did not like it. But I'm one of those people where if something happens to children or dogs in movies, I can't watch it. I'm done. And that's kind of what happened in this book. And so I had a hard time getting through that part. There was even a part later on in the book that I actually just stopped reading that autobiography entry and just skipped ahead into the book because I just couldn't do it. So if you are going to read this book, I just want you to go into it feeling prepared, especially if you're a mom. Some of the stories are a little bit hard to read. All right, so if you have not read Verity, I want you to stop this video right now because I am about to get into some spoilers. So spoiler alert. So now let's dive deep into some spoilers about Verity. First of all, the book starts out with the most horrific scene. Like right away, right off the bat, you're starting out with something that kind of makes you sick to your stomach, to be honest. Like, Lowen is on her way to this meeting about becoming the writer for Verity Crawford, and she witnessed somebody getting hit and squished by a car. And I mean, it is graphic, so right away you're already starting out with a bang. The book gets a little bit better as it goes on with the storyline of everything, and you start to get to know who the characters are and what they're about. After Lowen accepts the job and she gets to the Crawford's house, she starts digging through Verity's office to try to find the outlines for the next 2 books, and she can't find anything, but she does stumble upon this autobiography, like I said at the beginning of this video. And in this autobiography, it's very twisted. Like the way that Verity Crawford views things, she's like obsessed with her husband, doesn't like that her husband likes their kids or loves their kids or would put their kids first. I mean, it is very twisted the way that Verity wrote this autobiography. Now, when she first gets to the house, I'm not gonna lie, it gave me like very haunting feelings, the way that she was describing things. Like it just felt very uncomfortable, very dark, just a little bit unsettling. I loved when the book was about Lowen and the stuff that Lowen was going through. However, I didn't like when we were reading chapters out of the autobiography because they were so dark, they were so morbid, they were so twisted. And some of the feelings that Verity felt towards her kids absolutely made me sick. Like I said, I had kind of prepared like a wall going into the book. I was kind of like, okay, it's going to be bad. My sister-in-law warned me. She knows me. So I kind of went in with a wall. And when I would get to those certain points in the book, I would just kind of get through it, like feel no emotion. But there was one time where it was so shocking that I just kind of was just like, ugh. It made me sick to my stomach. And it was when the baby was crying and she had had a dream the baby was going to kill the other baby, and she tried to suffocate the baby, and it just absolutely made me sick to my stomach. I think any mom reading that would be sick to their stomach. It just did not sit well with me. So that was one part that I absolutely did not enjoy reading. Throughout the book, though, because Verity has been in a car wreck, she's supposedly in this coma or in this state where she's just not mentally there. She's not in a coma, but she's just not, she can't talk, she can't do anything for herself. They have to do it all for her. Well, because of this, Lowen and Jeremy spend a lot of time together, and Lowen and Jeremy start having an attraction for each other and start this kind of twisted love story together. The thing that I did enjoy about the book, the thing that kept me going, and the mystery of it all that I really liked about it, is throughout the book you start getting this creeping feeling that Verity is pretending to be in this thing. I mean, you start like not being able to do stuff for herself, like not being able to talk, not being able to acknowledge things. You start getting little hints, and like Lowen starts seeing things, and you like see a curtain move in Verity's room, or you see like her standing at the top of the stairs and then she's gone, or you hear footsteps but nobody's supposed to be home. So this pushes Lowen to try to get through the manuscript even faster so that she can kind of warn Jeremy. At one point she decides she's not going to tell Jeremy about the manuscript, but in the end she ends up telling Jeremy about it, which he already knew. But he didn't know that Verity was pretending to be sick or have these injuries. So it's quite the thriller. Like, that part was exciting. Like, leading up to all of that, I absolutely loved. Now, one of the points in the manuscript, it talks about the second twin's death of her drowning, and I had to skip it. Like, I started reading and I was like, nope, skip. So I will say I skipped like 2 pages on that and did not read it. It was just a little bit too much for me personally. Then Jeremy realizes that Verity is faking. He gets her to admit it because of this big huge scene with Lowen. She's trying to prove he thinks she's crazy. She hands him the autobiography. There's like all this chaos breaking out in the book, and so then he realizes that Verity is faking. There's like a terrible scene there too, I will say. And then you fast forward 7 months later where Lowen is actually pregnant because her and Jeremy have been sleeping together this whole entire time. Like, she's pregnant and you find out all of this stuff, and then she finds a letter from Verity that's stating that the manuscript was not real, that Jeremy had seen it before, that it was some sort of writing technique so that you're supposed to make yourself a villain, because she was trying to do that for her book series that she had, because all of her book series were from the villain's point of view, and so she was trying to make herself be the villain. So she has this whole letter describing how it wasn't true. She would have never done that to their kids. Jeremy should have known better. But Lowen finds the letter, never shares it with Jeremy, and I kind of feel like not true. Like, even if you're trying to be the villain, I just don't think that you could write about your kids in that way. I just don't think you could. So I call it BS. I don't think the letter was legit. I think that was Verity's last way of manipulating or trying to ruin things for Lowen or Jeremy. If you read this book, I want to know. Do you believe the letter or do you believe the manuscript? Drop a comment below. Let me know, because I want to know what you feel on it, what you thought. Okay, so we read Verity. We got through it. I am still going to rate this book a 4 out of 5. Now, I did not like some of the stories in it, but I felt like they were trying to paint Verity in a certain light so that the book would be more mysterious, more suspenseful, more of a thriller. So I really liked it for those reasons. It kind of kept me on my toes, so I am going to give it a 4 out of 5. I absolutely love Colleen Hoover and will continue to support her. I think she's an amazing author and I really enjoy her books. So 4 out of 5 stars, that's awesome. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Click that little bell to get notified when I post my next video. Thanks for watching.